Welcome to the Montgomery Amateur Radio Club continuing series of videos. Today's video is on mesh networking, the last mile. It's presented by Steve, KD2UW.
Here, typical Linksys, interface to a Raspberry Pi that has a video camera on it. And it's upside down, but that's not a big deal. So one of the jobs for this would be to source real-time video over a mesh-like connection. This is all 2.4 gigahertz. So this is what I drove down here tonight. This is the emergency comm van. It was previously owned by some CAP, Civil Air Patrol aficionado in Virginia. My son and I are in the process of restoring it, and now it has a mesh node in its roof, and it's out in the parking lot. We've connected it up to this node. Let's see what. So as you may or may not be aware, mesh nodes, whether they're Ubiquiti or Linksys, on the LAN switch ports, they're operating as a DHCP server. They're using a rather constrained set of IP addresses that are based on the MAC address of the hardware interface here. So typically, the mesh node will be able to assign up to 5 client addresses, distinct ones. This one has assigned an address to our laptop within the range. That's a good sign.
Steve, are you running that WRT software in the
This is Broadband Hamnet version 1.
Got it.
So this is typical from what I've seen, and I don't have, years of experience. I've only done this since last June. First, the OLSR dynamic routing figures out it has an IP address that it probably should know about. And then after a while, it'll actually figure out and ask it its node name. Link quality is a very subjective and fuzzy type of a thing. Anybody have any experience with link quality? 94 is good. Anything like below 70 and not such great packages. So what else do we have here? We have, this is the local node, KD2UW7. This is -8, the phone switch. You can define services, and you can define attached devices by their IP address and their MAC address. And you can do stuff with them. So like the Raspberry Pi here is this RPI7. Let's go and look at how that is actually configured. Another thing I do, I use a standard password. I write it down with the configuration of everything on a card on the top of these because my memory isn't that good. And if I wanted you to do something with it, what are you going to do if you don't have the configuration information? Here is the basic configuration for a mesh node. We have its IP address. We have the SID, and it's only going to talk to other people with the same SID. Antenna settings, there's the DHCP and the host ranges. But we can come over here to port forwarding and see what's happening. So yeah, you can ask questions in line here. Here is the name of the Raspberry Pi. Pick an address from one of the ones available on the node. It'll recognize it using the MAC address. You can at the same time define a service to advertise. And here, we're going to use the real-time streaming protocol on that device. We're going to rendezvous using port 8554. Go to a URL that has video in it, and maybe get some video. So let's get that running.
So if you're on a remote node, how do you see those services?
I'm on a remote node.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I wanted to see what the network view is from that guy. Sorry. Into 8. Click on him. Here is what's happening at 8. So I can go in there and configure him remotely. Do that with every node. So it's kind of interesting to see here what signal strengths it is seeing in terms of other nodes. Here's where the first problem with broadband hamnet version 1 kind of comes in. Even though some of these routers have been configured local mesh, URL rewrite doesn't work most of the time. 3 came online, and at one time I had a Raspberry Pi. This is a web server. I have an Arduino someplace. So you can kind of pre-configure these things if you like. Let's actually try to get some traffic going.
Is it the little Raspberry Pi camera?
It is indeed.
Oh,
Just kind of stuck in there.
cool.
Not really recommended, unfortunately. Doesn't perform very well. Let's see if this will display.
Oh, does it do something?
So,
Not bad.
Oh.
a little delay. So I think if I had to do it again, I'd buy a commercial IP webcam and just connect it up. It's probably a much more stable resource.
But this isn't bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
not bad
this
at
is
all.
quite useful. Felt a little weird.
Steve, if we have this backbone set up, we did like a base station, or the equivalent of a mesh base station we leave up there all the time, and then when the emergency happened, people would show up with these portable things and they'd hop on the network, I guess, right?
I suspect so. I mean, this ubiquity stuff
Is the backbone.
really not. Well, they make a 2.4 gigahertz version and a 3.8.
Oh, they do, that would talk to the links and stuff?
They have broadband hamnet for any of those versions of radio.
Yeah.
Are you running this in part 97 device or part 15
Those
device?
are 97, but what does that mean? I mean, I put my call sign in and I'm able to use higher ERP. Other than that, what is really the difference between?
Well, you can't use SSH, it has encryption.
Actually, there is a difference. A laptop will see it, but you can't connect to it. They did something to it. But also, I met the Hamnet broadband folks, and they have a port to the Ubiquity that I don't think you can interoperate with Linksys. They use different low-level modulation, TDMA, or I could be wrong. But they have a port for similar devices, where there's one over there, 5.8 and 2.4. That's a good question.
So that's kind of my challenge to you all. 9 months of fooling around, I've had a lot of fun, but there's a lot more to be done before this is ready for prime time use. Interoperability and actually carrying traffic is my main concern. To do that, it's having experienced operator folks that know how to configure this stuff up under pressure, which I have to thank you all tonight because this was excellent